Let me jump over onto Spiracraft page, get myself all set up here this morning. A live feed here on Facebook. Hope everybody's having a good Monday morning. There we go. There's the live feed on that one. The internet's doing weird things this morning. Not uncommon. So, we'll see how it shakes. Let's go jump in here and say good morning, everybody. I'm actually on time. Believe it or not. Hope everybody's doing well. We are on, let's see, you're looking at me. Hey, it's Monday Methods. Monday Methods has come back. And I'm double checking on everything here. It is supposed to be up and looking good. At all the computer world over here. You know how that goes. Trying my best to get all these guys working like they're supposed to. Slowly working my way through the challenges. Still working on the chat box issues. All right, so I got that up. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Camera switchers in place. We've got one, we've got two, we've got three, we've got me. Looking forward to this morning. Let's see, anything shaking here before I need to get going? I'm getting some errors on YouTube. It says it's not getting enough video. I hope everything is coming through. Hope the audio's coming through. I'll wait and I'll watch to see when some folks are in here. And that is that, and this is there. That's all good. It says 51 minutes. That's bizarre. All right, I am on Morning Methods. Spidercraft is live. I'm the only one watching. Steve McCall is here. Good morning, Steve. Is audio coming through just fine? The internet's saying that it's got some issues this morning, so let me know. Give me a thumbs up on the audio. Say that audio is good, audio is bad, so I'll know where we're at. Getting set up here just a little bit. I'm looking for another special wrench. We get started on this project. This is a continuation from last week. May have to use the Allen wrench to set these pieces. Get myself a little extra room here. Oh, see a little. I was cleaning on the lathe, believe it or not, finally, and I see a little extra quick, so I can walk over here and get my paper towels. Little extra cleaner and lubricant there on the lathe. We'll clean that off so we don't make a mess on our piece. So you can see the big face, the jumbo jaws. EasyWood Tools calls them the easy jaw, the big easy jaws. That's what we're going to be starting our project with today. That's my plan anyway. And if you weren't with me last week, a lot of people were. There were a lot of people with me. Believe it or not, back over here. Believe it or not, so last weekend I did the Woodworking Shows, live remote, if you will, from here in the studio, as if we had been in Syracuse, New York, which was the last show we would have been doing. So I was out here all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think I did about 10 dem, 10, 10 didn't have enough coffee. 10 demonstrations in the course of the 3 days, and all live stream out here from the studios at Spirecraft. And I'm quite surprised looking back at the numbers. There were about 20,000, 21,000 something views the last time I looked at the series. So I am quite pleased with that. I appreciate everybody who came along and watched what we did. So today, if you may remember, if you were there, this guy we started on, and this was one of my just kind of a creative process piece. And let me go to the overhead camera for you. This is the piece that is sycamore, and it had a void in the top. It had a split, some splits in the middle. So we turned away the splits. We had it on a faceplate. And then I made these shapes, and I made these little moats. I called them moats. And you can see here as well. And I filled them with the Chromacraft epoxy resin with some colorant, some blue, and some pearl powders to give them a look. I knew it was an unfinished piece, and so today we're going to continue on it. I don't think it will be finished with some of the ideas I have even today. We've got this void here to play with. I had sealed that with some epoxy earlier on. So I've got a number of ideas to work with this piece. One of the first things I want to do is clean up this tenon area in here. Go back over here. I want to clean up this tenon and make sure that I've got that right, because it's a little big. It's a 3.5, and I may take it down in size, and I'm not sure that it's really true. So we're going to be mounting this in going to be mounting it in this set of bowl jaws to be able to turn it around and get that cleaned up. Now that's going to take a couple little special operations. Good morning, Lorianne. Nice to see you. Is the audio okay? Give me a heads up. And I have backup batteries. The batteries may die again. I haven't been out, trying to stay away from the stores and all that stuff. So give me a heads up on the audio if there is an issue with it. Just so I know, and I'll change batteries out. Now I'm going to play with these buttons just as soon as I find my Allen wrench to change them. And we're going to mount this guy back in reverse in the bowl jaws. Doo-doo-doo-doo. We'll use this one. No, we'll use this one. So a couple of things that we're going to do. Which camera am I on? Okay. These are the standard bumpers for the jaws. And typically, your piece is held inside of here. Well, today, I'm taking a slightly different approach because I have this section right in here. I have this, but what happened is when I poured this resin, I like that voice crack, morning. When I poured the resin in both moats, if you will, and I put it over in the pressure pot, the pressure pot got a domed bottom in it, or yeah, it's kind of curved, and I didn't set it in there perfectly in the middle, and so the resin is off to one side just a little bit. So we want to address that, and we also want to address the tenon here like I was talking about. So because I have this nub sticking up, let's see, I'll find the right camera view that can show it to you. There we go. I think if I go to 3, you can see right here the nub that sticks up, and there's the black side of it. Okay, so I can't just mount this flat. Well, one of the techniques I found is that if I use these bumpers as a standoff, and with a little bit of adjustment, if I get them right, then if I'm lucky, wherever I hit them, I know I put them close here. Let me reach over. If I'm lucky today, I add the extensions, which are for hollow forms. So when I add this extension, that will allow me to grip and compress in. So the small bumpers are just a standoff to keep this upper portion from touching anything. So that's what my plan is, and I'm sticking to it. It's worked before. So let me double check here, see how that's laying. And then it's going to be a little bit of it's not a standard method, although it's getting kind of standard for me, of adjusting and getting the right relationship between the standoff bumpers and our grippers out here. I'm only using 4 of these. So I think if I go in that line right there, this is one of the beautiful things, creating some fun new ways to do things. So let's see how this starts to work out. Let me come over here and scroll down my feeds here. I lost the internet completely just before I turned everything on. Kind of scary. Ask me how that happened, I don't know. A gremlin, I'm not kidding, a gremlin literally came in here, and my Wi-Fi feed, or my Ethernet feed, was disconnected. Now, I'm certain I didn't do it myself, but I may have. So I'm going to mount one here, and I'm going to go straight across to over here. The rest of these guys. I have kind of looked at this piece over the weekend, over the week. I've had it in the house, just kind of playing with different ideas that might work. Make sure I get on the right line here. 1, 2, 3, 4 holes showing. 1, 2, 3, 4 holes showing. Oh, right there. So I've been playing with some different ideas on how I want to continue this piece. You know, sometimes when I look at it, I go, well, it's just kind of a lost cause. I mean, I had fun making it, but, you know, every time you try something new, sometimes they don't always all work out just like you want them to. And that's just the way things are. I think that I've got a couple ideas about recasting the bottom a little bit to change the base. It's one of those great projects you can just kind of continue on with for quite a while until you get what you want, or you may not get anything out of it. It may just kind of be an exercise, and there's nothing wrong with that. I always learn as I'm going along. Get in here. I'm hoping this is going to do what I want. And then we got to get it to turn true and all those good things. Gone way too far out. This dog, what were you thinking? Work? Okay. It's live. It's Monday morning. It's Monday Methods. I am happy to be out here. Even if I'm having to make changes to what I thought was the right setting. I knew there was a reason why I was only going to put 2 of these on and check it. And I got busy talking. I love to talk, I guess. But you would never know. Ask my family, ask my parents. They said I didn't talk for the first couple of years. But I've been making up for it during the last decade out at the Woodworking Shows doing demonstrations. And now here live. Sometimes I think I talk too much. But that's all right. I'm enjoying myself. I hope everybody's safe and healthy, staying out there. I know this craziness keeps going on and on and on. That's going to work. See, that one's too close now. But I've got some room to move here. Let's check something. I think that's what I was thinking. I go out. No, I need to go out by 1 on both of these and Of course, when you do one sided and then the other, it affects the whole reach. Now, I could have done all this ahead of time, but that would make it seem like it was all pre-done, and I like to spend time with you. Get in there. It was interesting reading the comments from the demonstrations over last weekend. So I said, get to the point. I am getting to the point. I'm from the South. We take our time. Okay, how about that? I just have had no luck with batteries. My tried and trues, which I just put back in, I hope they last however long I'm out here. I put the rechargeables back in. That's what died on me originally, and I've got a bunch of old cheap batteries around here. They were new, but they were old, so they didn't last. So thank you, Lorianne, for letting me know that I had no sound. Good morning, Pam Chambers. Nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. We're having fun out here today. I hope you're doing well. I don't know if you're this time of year if you're in Florida or up in Maine. Both places are very nice. Now that we have the sound back, life is good there. Okay. So as I was saying before I lost the sound, now is the decision time. While I've got it turned around here, what do I want to do? Do I want to change this shape any at all? I have thought about, I'm not sure the best way to show you this. I've thought about recasting some black for a base in here, because the way when I initially made this, it's got the curve to it, and I don't really have an option. I can't make this this edge roll over, which I've kind of thought about. So I've got these design elements that I have to try and decide which way is the best way to go. I'm not 100% sure exactly what I want to do. I do know that on both this level and this level, and I think of this as a fountain. I think I named it Fons Inverso, something of that nature. It's Latin. I was having fun looking up an inverted fountain, an upside down fountain, because the top is bigger than the bottom. I want to keep some of the wood grain, and I want to have the resin exposed above and possibly below. So those are the things I've been toying with. So I know that I need to clean this up. So I'm going to go ahead and get out a cutter here and just clean up this section right here. That's going to be my next step. Then we'll go from there. As I'm starting to think, well, what is it you want to do with this? I'm also curious to see what happens here as I clean this, because there's resin and wood, so I'm not using a negative rake cutter. Okay. So that cleans that right up. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to go ahead and roll this edge over. We're on the overhead, yeah. I'm going to roll some of this because I have to flatten out this top where the resin isn't flat. So I'm going to take this right down to the resin. I'm going to take some of the wood away, and then I'm going to switch over to a negative rake cutter. Okay. Switch over to a negative rake and clean up this resin face here, because if you can see it now in the overhead, it's not flush. It's not flat. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and clean this resin face up. So I switched to the cutter for the resin, the negative rake cutter, and you can see the tool bouncing there now. And this is because the resin didn't flow evenly when I had it sitting in the pressure pot, because it was a little slanted in there. So we're getting this back into true, and I'll have to do the top the same way. Now this is rated for 800 on these jaws, so I'm going to go ahead and take every bit of the 800 to turn this a little bit faster and cleaner. I may switch over, let me see here, I may switch over to a larger round negative rake and see if I get a better effect here. Or they're both going to bounce. Nope, that one's even worse. Okay, back to the small one. We'll get this smoothed out. It's a pretty big surface area. Let's take a look in there, see what that looks like. Okay, that's coming around. This resin has been cured for what? A week now? No. Yeah. All right, now here's where it gets a little scary for me. I have my plan, I have my idea that I want to go ahead and roll this edge over until it begins to expose the resin. And then I want to leave a band of wood next. And that's where then I think I'm going to be casting another base to this. So I may, you can't see real well, I may try and zoom this in a little bit. Let me know if it gets too out of focus for you. And I'll set the focus to a closer distance. I have it on manual. Pay no attention if you see strange things on the camera. Let's set her down to about 2 feet. That look in focus? Yeah. Okay, good deal. We'll leave it right there. That gets you right in on the activity. And see, I'm going to refresh this page right here. Let's see what's going on. All right, good deal, good deal. All right, good. All right. So I'm going to roll this over hesitantly. And expose this resin. Because the resin falls away. So see, there we got to the resin. Okay. See if that, you can see that when it casts uneven, it makes an uneven edge there. That was kind of something I was afraid of a little bit. Of course, you can't see all the sides at one time. Let me round over the edge of this resin a little bit. Now, I have a plan to fix that unevenness with a stripe, an inlay stripe, if you will. This resin is turning nicely today. So I want to pull a profile all the way from inside here, and I'm going to make this slant down. Resin off my head. Okay, that's working. That's doing what I want. So I'm starting to see this base profile roll out now, which is what I want. Just smoothing out that inside. Interesting vibration there. You can see I'm getting thoroughly messy in the resin world here. But the general idea of what I have in mind is coming through. And it looks like the more I take this down, the closer I get to uniform, which is good. A little bit more profiling here. I can also do this when it is turned around, but I wanted to do it while it was here. I don't know if you hear that high frequency scream or not. Okay. That's kind of cool. Now, I think here's my plan for this. Stuff has got a lot of static in it today. A lot of static in it today. Checking my feed over here, making sure things are working right. Now, I think I'm gonna, like I said, I want to keep this natural line, this natural wood as part of the piece. But I want to have it blend up to the resin. Now, if this is looking even, I'm going to clean this face up. Let me take a radius. Do I have a radius cutter? It's not negative rake installed. I have a negative rake one anyway. I want to smooth this, and if not, if it won't do what I want, I'll take my gouge out. I want to see what this face looks like. And you can see that line is running pretty true now. It's not perfectly true, but it's pretty true. Okay. So if you can envision this as I hold this tool up. let's see. Let's take tailstock away for a second. I need to show you what I've got in mind, which will come at, I'll probably do this after we're done here today. So if you can see this gap right here, that's the gap that I'm going to recast this base. Probably let's say in black. So I will make a piece that will sit up around, it'll go around the tenon, and I will cast this so that I can fill this void right here. And that will give me my wood, I have my beautiful sycamore right here. And I got to get some more of the resin off of that. Looks like the resin blade in. But then I'll have my band. I want to keep that band of wood right in there. Then we're going to have black. So if I was to use, just because it's the first thing I see that's black, give you a visual. So imagine if you can see that. Can't see it very well on the camera. I was trying to use a mouse pad. Give a black line there. There we go. That might be kind of the idea of where I'm going with this. Hey, Derek, and hey there, Rick Stone. Appreciate you dropping in on us. So I'm looking to make this bottom color, have the second color, have this natural sycamore looking good here. So that's where I'm at on that. And when I do that, then I can round this piece over entirely for that bottom base. So I kind of got the idea of what I want there going on. Do I want to do anything in here right now? I don't think so. I'm going to turn, while I'm here, I can do it after. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to go ahead and put this into Chuck. So let's change cameras. Say hello to the new faces. So if you are just getting here, you can see that I have mounted this in the EasyWood Tools Big Easy Jaws. And I'm still on that one. I don't know why I did that. I wanted to go here. So it's mounted in the Big Easy Jaws. And what I've done, you see the long extensions for hollow forms? They're what are actually holding the piece. Up back here. They're holding the piece in place, and the bumpers, the standard bumpers, are what were holding it off. They were sitting on this surface, and they were holding it away from hitting, go overhead for you. They were keeping it from hitting that knob from touching down in the middle, okay? So that's how I mounted this guy up, sitting on the bumpers as extensions, standoffs, if you will. I got resin all over me. And then using the long hollow form extensions to actually grip the piece. So that worked out pretty well. And that way I got my tenon cleaned up, and I did a little bit of work here to the bottom, and I'm good. I'm where I want to be at the moment because I'm out in the shop turning. So that's a good thing. Now I got resin all over my head. Now, if anybody's got any kind of questions in here, jump in and say so, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions. We're going to get these jaws off of here and put in another set of jaws. And say, I hope everybody's doing well. I know all this being at home stuff is no fun. Now, when I turn this around, it may, I may have to true it back up a little bit as well. Get the right jaws here, Bradley. That one. I was sweeping up this morning, and actually, one of these 2 and 3/8 jaws was down in the pile on the floor. Mess. Got a lot of static to it. And I almost threw it away. I've lost one before. I was demonstrating for Easy Wood Tools at IWF in Atlanta. And I was turning a bunch of green poplar, and I had a huge pile of chips all the way up to the bottom of the lathe. And I dropped the 2 and 3/8 jaw, and I never did get that thing back. Never could find it. Went through all that pile numerous times. Okay, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. That'll work for what I have in mind. Yeah, this is an interesting piece. You know, I love these challenges. I make them, I create them for myself. Here's what it looks like from the end. I create these challenges or these pieces that give me a challenge so that I have to work through a process and come up with solutions. And I love that. I enjoy it. I think it helps me in my turning overall. Again, sometimes they don't come out to be anything special, but I'm okay with that. I really don't mind if things are not exactly what we always want. Now, I don't want to put, I want to use my tailstock, but I don't want to put a hole. I've got a little teeny divot there. So I'm going to put a rubber chucky on here for Mr. Doyle. John Doyle at Rubber Chuckies. Move my point back in a little bit. And I'm going to do the same kind of thing, I think. I'm thinking about this top. I'm open to suggestions if I should make this top roll over or if I should keep it as where water is standing and just turn the resin away so it is truly like a fountain. Let me know. Pop it in the chat boxes and tell me what you think. I know that I have to clean it up because the resin here, if you're just joining me again, it's not sitting flush in here, so I have to level all this up and get it true. Like I say, I can always take resin away to make it be more like a moat. We'll just see. And so I got my rubber chucky in here, putting a little pressure on so the thing doesn't run away on me if I do something crazy with the tools. You know what I mean? Not that I would ever do anything terribly crazy. Then again, I might. Take a quick sip over here while I'm checking the chat boxes. All right. Let's clean this guy up right in here. I'm going to go overhead for you. We're going to go ahead and clean this up, clean this face up, flatten this out. I'll use a combination of the negative rake and the standard carbide tools to do this because I've got resin and wood. So I'll take a negative rake and clean up this resin right here. It's a wonderful day. I'm looking outside. I don't know if you follow my personal page, how I recorded the birds the other day. They were fantastic. I was just sitting on the back porch taking a break, and the birds were chirping and singing, and it was springtime. And so now I can also turn my speed up a little bit more. I'd like to turn about 1,000 on this stuff. Now that I'm not in those jumbo jaws. And I wonder if I should zoom that camera. No, I'll leave it right here. I was going to zoom that camera out, but I think we'll just stay right here. Let's get this trued up and get this resin off of here. And I'm using the negative rake even though I'm on wood because it's a wood resin mix, and I just didn't want to take the chance of it catching and grabbing. So you can see right here I've got some chunks. Just go ahead and get rid of them. Get some of that resin cleaned up a little bit more. So I'll just come down across here, and then it'll go chop, 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 chop on that resin. Okay, that takes care of that. The resin is gone for the most part. Now, I'm going to switch over here to the end view. So this is what I need to clean up because this is not level. I'm going to zoom that in for you. And again, we'll check the focus. I'll adjust this camera. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to change cameras while I mess with this so you don't get seasick as the camera moves. I'm going to change this just a little bit. Get right in here for you. Check the focus. Can't see this. About 2.5 feet. That looks in focus there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it right there. All right. What happens when you don't have a crew? So there we go. Now you can see what I'm talking about. We'll clean this face up because here I have wood that's proud, and here I have resin that's right flat at the top. So that's what we're going to clean up. That's where we're going to make our changes. Too bad I see that it's buffering over on YouTube today. Hopefully the recording won't be horrible. All right. Let's clean up this front side. And then I got ideas. What am I going to do with this ledge? What I'm going to fill this with? Lots of fun things. So this is one of those projects you work in stages so you get where you want to be. Again, I'm going to use a negative rake cutter, even on the wood, because I will eventually end up contacting the resin, and I don't want to chip it out. Get my tool height right. That's looking pretty good. All right. And off we go in here. You can see there we go, good deal. Negative rakes do work on the wood, they're just not as aggressive. So we've got to get this all evened out. And you can see that the resin is not true to the axis the piece is spinning on. And that's why the tool is jumping. Might as well go ahead and clean this up a little teeny bit. I don't want to touch this too much right in here because I got my void in there that I'm working with. I'm just doing this nice and gently till we get this flat. Now what's going to happen is there's going to be a non-uniform wall thickness, and we're going to try and get right up in here. This outer wall, you can see it when it's spinning around, looks like. Yeah, you can see how it doesn't look like it's round, and it kind of sort of isn't, even though it is. It's just that the resin flowed higher up one side than the other. starting to smooth out, flatten out. If you've never seen resin turned before, this is what you look like when you're turning the resin. So you clean it off your head every once in a while. All right, that's starting to true up. See, we still have this. This hole is a feature. Have to decide what we're going to do with that. That is starting to get pretty flat. A little bit of still out of true right there. See how right here this is very, very thin. It's not as apparent to you. I put my 2 fingers right there. That's all the more wall thickness I have right there. And I think I want to fill this, so I don't want to take virtually anything off this upper section in here. I'm going to come back in now with the number 1 hollower and stay down on the bottom section and kind of clean that transition up a little bit. Come right on across here. Okay. So if this is a fountain and this blue is the water up top, that's pretty cool. Now, what's that going to look like when it's shiny? Let's see if we can put some alcohol on this and get a little gloss on that resin. I'm just looking for some ideas here. Get a clean paper towel. Looks like the internet's being pretty heavily used today, and things are buffering a bit, unfortunately. Let's see what this looks like. You'll see our water shines up. We have some pearl in there. Okay, let's see what the yellow does. Oh, what all's in that yellow? That's cool. So I think that base, yellow and black might be interesting there for the base. Now I'm at one of those decision points. What do I decide to do? Live video interrupted. There we go. Internet woes today. Internet woes. Let's check. I'm going to check something here real quick. See what my stream feed looks like on the back side. Says it's doing okay there. Doing in the software. It's having trouble. I'm going to go ahead and shut down some of this imagery. See if I can't maybe free up a little bandwidth. Can't help that. May help a bit. Bunch of windows open over here. I'm going to reduce those windows because having them all open can affect the bandwidth. So let's take that because that's not a browser window. And it may be internet today. I know the internet's getting used heavily, making things. Oh, I like the. Where am I seeing that? The stream coming off somewhere there. Cool. All right. So we've got our bottom kind of worked out. We've got our top flat now. And I love the look of this wood. It's sycamore. Love the look of the sycamore. Question is, do I want to leave a band? I'm going to go overhead. do I want to do like I did here? Because I'm going to remember I'm going to make this bottom black back in here. You can barely see my hand in the overhead right now on the bottom. Do I want to expose the blue water here? Just leave another band of wood on the edge, which would be interesting. Do I want it to look like water standing in this moat region here? And part of me really wants to expose. Where are we at? No, we're on that. Let me go over here. Part of me really wants to expose this blue on the edge. Part of me really does. And I'm just thinking out loud. I think I'm going to. I may regret it, but I kind of want to see the blue and the yellow. And this in here, I don't know what color. I think I'm going to dye this. I don't know that I'm going to leave this natural, but I'm going to leave these two bands natural. Okay. So I think I'm going to pull the trigger on this. And I'm going to go ahead and come in here and cut away some of this wood. Now, I have to keep in mind that this all falls away. So for me to expose the blue resin, and it's not super deep. Okay, so this is a iffy one. And what's going to happen? I'm going to take a small round cutter, and I'm just going to make a cut right back in here to start to expose the resin. If I don't like it, I can always modify that with another type of color highlight. Can't put the wood back. Once I take the wood off, the wood is gone. There's no putting it back. Okay. So we are on that, and let me go to the overhead for you. See if there's any questions over here at all before I start on this next little section. All right. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on this, and I'm going to expose the resin right in here. I'm going to leave that band. And I'll keep cutting through the wood until I hit the resin. Got to be in there somewhere. Again, I can't remember how shallow this upper piece was, this upper moat. Of course, the wood, okay, I see. I've got the wood thickness. The wood, let me go 2. I have this far to go with the wood just to get to the resin on the back side. I don't have a camera set up over here on the backside. I do have one for it. I just don't have it set up yet. Could show you this really well. There we go. I'm starting to see some blue finally. Okay, so what that tells me is I can go ahead with the standard cutter and remove a fair bit of wood back here on the back side, as I want to get this blue to show up, and which is going to change this whole profile, which was part of my plan. I planned to change this profile, so let's go ahead and get a little more aggressive here. And what I'll do is I'll just slowly expose that blue. And keep blending it in to the profile of the center axis of the piece. And this hasn't been cleaned up in here at all yet. Have to move the tool rest in a little too far over for that tool right now. It would be interesting to see the resin look translucent from the top. So that when we look through the top, it might have some light show or some translucence to it. It looks like I wish I had that other camera back over here that I could show you, but I sure don't. Okay, I'm going to switch back to a negative rake so that when I get to the resin, I won't have a catch. I wonder if, let me try this. I'm gonna stop and move this whole thing over as far as it'll go, and see if you can see what's going on in the back here. Let's see what we can do. I don't know if it'll work, but we'll try. That should let you see a little bit of it show up as it comes through. As you can see the blue starting to show here. Again, I wish I had a camera coming in from this back angle, but I don't. So strange, it's actually got a lift to it here. I can't remember what I did in this. This was kind of crazy. Even through the wood, I can see my finger, so I'm real close. Real close. So I'm getting my blue band that shows all the way through now. Now it is wider and thinner again because the way it poured, it didn't pour perfectly. Because it was sitting, well, it poured fine, but it was sitting in the pressure pot crooked. And I think what I'm running, what's happening is that I'm coming up against the curve where this is actually curving back up to the top. So we can make that fairly thin. We'll take that away right there and flatten that out. Just taking the resin away now. And it'll give us some light to shine through there, which is pretty cool. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So our band isn't perfectly uniform, but it's not horrible. And if I go to the end camera, can't see a thing because I moved the headstock down. Let me move the headstock back so that you can see. So if you can see the light transmitting through right in here. So we have a nice little wafer effect there. And I like that. I like what's going on. Okay. So I have my band of my wood here, which is going to stay natural. I have my blue band on the back side. I have my water in the top of my fountain here. I'm going to add the black back here. This will stay natural. I got my two colors working. There'll be three colors. Now, what do we do with this guy? What do we do with this guy? I'm going to go ahead and take a little more out of the center here while I'm here, just to help with the proportions. I mean, they weren't the final proportions to start with. I'm not going to take a lot out, but I want to clean that up some, make sure that it's true. Again, because there's resin involved, I'm using my little small negative rate cutter. Plus it lets me reach pretty far. Okay, stop. So I was on the end camera, and I was working in here for you. I'm going to make another pass through here, cleaning up this interior section. And this is going to get even smaller over time. I just want to leave as much strength in here as I can. Okay. Stop right there with that. Get me cleaned up here, get the dust off of me, and go for the next idea of what we're going to do here. How am I doing on time? I have my watch off. Time is 11:24, so I got about 35 minutes. Stop at noon today. It's so great to be back out here doing Monday Methods again. Hair's messed up because I can't get a haircut, but hey, that's all right. All right, so I'm getting the general concepts of what I had in mind are coming together in this piece. It's looking, I'm happier with what's going on. Now, the next thing I want to address, and I think this will probably take up the rest of the day today, is this piece is going to be, it's going to take a number of journeys to complete this piece. I'm going to go ahead and address my hole here in the top. Okay? So, take this out and we're going to set it down and we're going to come up with our plan on how we're going to fill this. Go to the overhead for you so you can see what I'm talking about. This void here, and the void goes up onto the dome, all right? And so I want to preserve that, and it may be a two-step process, and I want to keep it clear, but I want to, excuse me, I want to put some kind of an element down inside here. And that's something I was thinking about, over the weekend. What could I put in there that would be kind of interesting? I don't know if anybody has any ideas or not. And it looks like it's buffering like crazy out there today. I see the stream flashing badly, which is unfortunate. But that's what we get. Too much internet going on. All right. Let's see if I have something that I'm thinking of here. On the overhead. Okay. I'm not walking in my own way here. Got a couple of different ideas of things to try. I have sealed that. I've sealed that top. Inside of here, I have sealed this. And I was thinking about one of the things I was thinking about putting in the crushed opal. I think the crushed opal's out at the warehouse and just kind of putting it in there. So I want to do a little color splash in here. And so another thought I had, got some chroma gilt. I got chroma gilt in a variety of colors. And maybe doing a little chroma gilt coloring in there, like a silver, just some silver splashes, some highlights, drifted over the wood, if you will. Now, it may look horrible. If it does, I would go back in there and recolor that in black, let's say. Again, now that we've got that top turned, let's put a little alcohol on here again and show you what that blue looks like. Now, it's not been sanded or any of that good stuff. It just gives you kind of an idea of what it looks like in the sheen. Just kind of looks sort of like water, which was kind of the idea. No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm changing my mind. Changing my mind here. Video interrupted again. It's one of those days. I'm going to keep going regardless. I'm going to use some of the pearl powders. I'm going to take and add some pearl powders down in there with one of my little brushes. And this is iridescent gold. I'm going to put a couple different ones in here. And I'm going to pour a water clear resin in this today. And it's going to be a two-stage pour. I'm going to, if I can find my Play-Doh, I might block it off and pour a little heavier. So there's some gold, and I know I see it more than you see it in the camera. The gold in there. Nice subtle little effect. Okay, now that's working. You can see the gold because it is an iridescent, and it's going over top of the black. It takes a color for that to work. And because we have blue water, we're going to take a little bit of iridescent blue as well, just to give another hue. Not as much this time. I can't put more of the blue on the, it's really rough over here on this side. Get the excess out of there. Hope it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense what I'm doing, go ahead and ask me, because I'm getting these colors that are down in and reflecting on the black. I'm looking for interesting hues, and I'm doing multiple layers of these colors. And if I have some iridescent purple, I have iridescent blue again, purple. Looking through my drawers here. Gold, iridescent gold. My kingdom for some iridescent purple today. Not seeing it. Oh, here's another little something we can put in there. We're going to take some easy inlay. I'm going to try this one too. And we're going to put a few flakes of calcite. Oh, this actually, excuse me, this is mother of pearl. We're going to flake just a little bit, and it's going to sink to, it would sink to the bottom anyway. And I think it's going to slide down that. We'll put a little bit here and there. Now, actually, what I should do, I should glue that in place. So I'm going to save that mother of pearl and put it back in the jar. Got ahead of myself there. Mother of pearl flake. And when I put the first coat of resin in here, then I'll put the flake and kind of drop it and glue it into place. So I can't find my iridescent purple. I'm going to add a little bit of gold back on here. Then we're going to mix up some resin. Now, the resin I'm going to use today is a urethane resin. It's not alumilite. It's a product from a company called Hapco. It's something that I've thought about Spirocraft bring in. And I've used it before, and it's water clear. I'm going to put another batch of blue on here. Because when the resin hits this, it'll do its thing. Kind of like the two together. There we go. Okay. Good deal there. Now this is going to end up going in the pressure pot today. And my Hapco is 1:1. Now, here's an interesting thing about it, and like I say, I've just used it some. It is 1-to-1 volume or weight. This is the ultra clear, and it's 1-to-1 by volume or weight, and it's a urethane. So it's kind of an interesting concept. Let me get a little cup here, mixer, so you don't see me around. As I root through the boxes, looking for one of the meters. Of course, I don't see. I threw them all away. Oh, there's one. It's got pins in it, got markers in it. There we go. So we don't need a lot. Don't need a lot of the Hapco. Like I said, it's 1-to-1. I have my metered guy here. I might put it up here where I can see a little bit better. Love my controller these days. Way at the moment. Flat somewhere that I can see. There we go. 1-to-1. More than that. I'll pour the excess in something else. Go. Now, when I pour this will have to go in pretty quick. Don't remember. It's been quite a while since I've used it. But the open time is. But we're about out of time anyway. And I need my pliers to get in here. Again, I hope everybody's, hey, Michael Wonderland. Hope you're doing well there, my friend. It's been a long time. There we go. That lid was kind of stuck. Half's liquid. That's the hardener. Okay. Good thing I was paying attention, huh? Right. Right. Okay. All good with that. Like I say, this is a water clear. I have done some casting with it. Made some interesting pieces. Works well. It's the only urethane resin out there, apparently, that does not have any mercury in the catalyst. And according to their information, it's going to be mandated at some point in the future. Now, I'm not claiming I know much about the regulations coming up. It's going to be mandated that the Part B's, catalyst, or resins cannot have any mercury in them. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. That's their marketing information. Flakes in there, but I don't think it'll affect us. Now I want to paint a coat of this on here, and then get back over to overhead. I'm going to paint one coat in on here. Hopefully not disturb my pearls. Then I want to drop the mother of pearl. Speaking of pearls, drop the mother of pearl in place. Now this is, like I said, this is going to be too poor because I'm going to end up, once this is, I'm going to fill this up as far as I can, and there'll be a little section left right in here, and then I'll come and build a Play-Doh dam around it. And I'll pour the second section. Now, if there's a witness line, that'll just have to be what it is. So now I just want to sprinkle some, and I got a fan blowing, that helps make it kind of random. I'm just kind of looking for a random effect here. Drop into the mother of pearl flakes in here. And this is the easy inlay. Nice folks. Be talking to them tomorrow. Hope they're doing well up in upstate New York. Scott and Nancy. Good folks. Little bit of mother of pearl flaking hanging around. Kind of curious to see what it does. Not a lot, just a bit here, a bit there. We carry the mother of pearl. No, we don't have the mother of pearl. We have the crushed opal and others. All right, so let's give a little pour here. Right up to where it's wants to run over. And so that fills it up. Now what I'll do, like I said, I'll make a dam, and I'll come around here after this cures. I could do it right now, theoretically, but I wouldn't want it to turn all that extra resin away. And I don't have my Play-Doh at hand. So I'll build a Play-Doh dam around this, and then we'll fill up to this point so that when I return this top section, that will, it will curve down into our area, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and see. I got plenty of this left over, so let me do an egg mold here real quick, and then we'll throw it all. The egg mold is my favorite thing for building extra goodies. Here's my favorite egg mold from the other day. Pink and the blue, and it's got Chromacraft spin gems. Blended spin gems, probably copper mine in it. It's going to be pretty cool. But I need an egg mold, which I had a bunch of them around. I think I threw them over here in the box. Never can find what I need when I need it. But that's my deal. That's my doings. I cleaned up, and there's one. There's the egg mold. And I probably have more than one egg mold's worth. The egg molds are fun for making little teeny projects, and they work great. And I think we're going to make another sphere today, since it looks like I have enough resin for another sphere. Okay. And we're going to add some pearls to these guys. We're going to do a black and gold. And a spin gem again. Black and gold with black and gold egg. Scissors. So that guy's just hanging out. And when I get these up, we'll take it all over to the pressure pot and throw them in the pressure pot. That'll pretty well wrap up our day, I think, looking at the time. Yeah, it's about quarter till. I want to make another stone. You can see the fine stone here. So I filled it about halfway. These are the as seen on TV egg molds. Okay. They don't make hard-boiled eggs very well, but they're great for this. And I'll fill that up about 2/3 of the way with resin. And then I'm going to stir. If I can stir with this stick or not. Let's see. Yeah. I'll go ahead and stir this so it's kind of like making concrete. I want to have the whole thing saturated. These are great for bottle stopper tops, anything like that. Might be into doing. Normally I put a piece of paper or cardboard, poster board over my lathe, but I was kind of in a hurry on this particular project today, so I skipped that aspect of today's. I wish I had a little cup because it's kind of fun. Kind of fun to, I'll just do this, make a different color base. So if I find, oh, let's say some, I'm looking for some resin tint in black, black resin tint. I get all excited when I start making resin up. It's more fun. It's more colors. I have a ball. This is looking good over here. I'm going to slide it over to the side just a little bit more. It's just a yogurt cup. I'm going to pour in just a little teeny bit of resin. Never waste your resin. Make a little more than you need. Come up with a couple of projects that you can utilize it with. And I'm going to put a black base on this. A couple drops of black. Stir. Because all I want to do is add one last layer. Bottom of this I might need a little more resin, so let's put stick more resin in here. That should pretty much fill up, and this black won't migrate all the way down. It'll stay kind of on the top here, which is actually the bottom. When you put it in a chuck. Stick out of there because I don't want to disturb it. I made a mistake. Weeds there. Finish pouring that in there. Then I see I'm a little short, so the very, very bottom of this is the tenon anyway. So I'll just pour a little bit of clear in there to finish filling that up. And that'll be the bottom of that. And I'll set this off to the side for a second. Okay. Let's get rid of that. There's our little egg mold filled, and trying to see if I can get it over here. I got this other camera so zoomed in. So that's the idea. Okay, a little black on the top. I'm going to go set this over on the table while we make up our resin for our sphere. Purple and copper for this. Here's what comes out of these little spheres. This little sphere mold that I have. Nice little guy. flat spot if you don't overfill. So you can drill tap this, make bottle stopper knobs, shifter knobs, fun things. I got it on I got the mold on Amazon. Not a big deal. And I'm just going to go ahead, I think, and finish this out. Let's see, how much do I have in here? Yeah, I'll just go ahead and mix this in here. So I'm going to put just a tick of black. And tick of green. Black and green. I'm going to make an interesting little color. And then these two pearls. Over here where you can see it. Purple. Straight purple. Pretty heavy. Maybe I'll throw some of that gold in there since I got the iridescent gold. Since I got the black in it. That's copper. Iridescent gold that I put away. Quick, Brad. Iridescent. Put it. There it is. Whether I wanted that much or not, I got it. That mixed up. Should make some interesting colors when it comes together. Now, I don't want to get a ton of this on the lathe, so I think I will put down a paper towel while I pour the little sphere. Plenty of room to work. You can see over here that our pour there is crystal clear. Right? Get these guys out of the way. Now, what I'll do is I'll play with this piece possibly during the week, the piece here, and get some more work done to it. I'll cast the bottom in black. Get the black cast on there. I put my little sphere mold together. When you're really careful, it stays that way. So now I'm just going to drop down here and pour this ever so steady. Get lots of silicone molds on good old Amazon for next to nothing. Get a whole kit of a bunch of different sizes. One of the things I'm going to play with in the future, there's some that are just little round dishes and some squares and whatnot. And I want to play with pouring those and then adding those as a component to another pour. Composite. Top. Okay. Good deal. And I got just a tick left. Boy, I wish I had another little silicone mold like that. And my video's been interrupted again. What a bother. What can we add this to make something else? Hate to waste it. Hate to waste it. I'm rooting around through a drawer over here. Can't find anything else I can just add that last little bit of resin to. Sure doesn't look like it. One more look over in another corner. I know I'm wrapping this thing up. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pour it down. I'm gonna pour it right down in the bottom of this fun little guy from last week. Over here. And I'm just gonna fill up the bottom of this piece, just because. It might make an interesting color in there. It might not. Who knows? I'll try and wipe off that that's on the side. If not, I can turn it away and airbrush it. Okay. So much for the fun of that. That's all good. Let's go time-wise. Let's see. I may just go ahead and cut this off because it keeps dropping out. 11:56. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the pressure pot. These guys in the pressure pot once I say good day to you here. It looks like there's been a lot of drops with the internet today. I apologize for that, and appreciate everybody coming back out. I am extremely happy to be back out here doing Monday Methods again after being on the road with the Woodworking Shows for, like I say, almost 3 months. This is my fun little world out here. Appreciate everybody. Everybody stay safe. Let's see you next week on Monday Methods. I'll usually post on Saturday or Sunday what the topic's going to be. It takes me the week to come up with it. It's always something different, always trying to have fun.